perform excavation and screening of existing topsoil and wood chip piles and removal of existing debris, including asphalt, concrete, steel, and wood pieces in the industrial zone.
So this application, you would just be receiving it tonight and scheduling a public hearing.
Okay.
I have a map, and the two new owners of the property are here, because if they want to, I don't want to speak for you if you want to.
You guys are here if you want to talk.
Well, just hopefully you got everything you need. You know?
All right.
So we have the site plan. This was the state of Connecticut owned this property. These gentlemen bought it. They're going to do, there's a lot of stuff to haul out of there, and then they could explain better. They will also do some screening of topsoil, and I feel, and if you look at the circles, those are the areas that they're going to work on.
These.
And excavate, yes. So due to the amount and the operation, it requires a special use permit.
Does that summarize it pretty good for you guys?
Well, basically, it's the state spent the past 60 years using it as a dumping ground.
Okay.
Wood chips, wood, concrete, catch basins, stuff to that effect. So for 60 years, they've developed these huge piles that have, basically we're looking to possibly develop them in the future, but the first step is to clean the stuff up. Okay. So we bought it, and it's as is, so they weren't going to clean it up. We have to clean it up. The burden falls on us.
Okay.
So we had it surveyed. You have the plans. There's no wetlands on the property. We're not within 100 feet of the brook. Everything that we're doing is, outside the limits that you guys have set. So we just need to begin this process of cleaning the property up. It's going to be very time consuming. It's not something that's going to be done every single day. It's just going to be when we can get at it and have time, go over there and do some work.
Okay.
So we're just asking approval to clean up the property so we can, in the future, possibly develop it.
No, we can't even give you approval tonight, unfortunately. We have to have the public hearing, so we can schedule that. When's the next best date for a public hearing, Jennifer?
Well, your next meeting is June 2nd.
Okay.
And unless if that date poses a problem for you people, we wouldn't really be able to do it for at least 2 weeks because we have to publish.
Yep.
And they need to notify abutters. But
I'm okay June 2nd. Are you guys okay June 2nd?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
so you would receive the application
So make a motion to receive the application.
and schedule the public hearing for June 2nd.
I'd like to make a motion to accept application 25-005 and post a public hearing for June 2nd.
I second.
Any conversation?
Everything's all right.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
So we can talk tomorrow.
Okay.
Explain more.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You want this back?
Yeah.
So the next item on the agenda is a public hearing for application 25-002, Specialty Realty LLC, 265 Field Road, Summers, seeking a special use permit per section 214-8.4 earthwork regulations to excavate topsoil and gravel from both 375 Billings Road and the rear portion of 265 Field Road to lower the elevation and combine parcels for existing building and storage facility in the industrial zone.
This is the legal notice. I don't know if you want to list, for the record, the dates posted, published.
So this is a notice that the Summers Zoning Commission will hold a regular meeting and public hearing on Monday, May 5th, 2025 for application 25-003. It also includes application 25-003. And this was dated April 16th, 2025. And it was published April 22nd, 2025 and April 29th, 2025?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. Thank you. And can you just let us know for the record who you are and everything?
So, my name is Eric Peterson. I'm an engineer with Gardner and Peterson Associates. Nick Rollicott and Jellica Rollicott, they're the owners of the property. They're the people running the business in the building,
Yep.
which is the specialty storage of
Luxury.
nice cars.
I remember.
Yeah. So it's good to see you guys again.
See you.
So since we were here last, we met with the Planning Commission, and they unanimously gave a favorable opinion of our application. I guess it's not really an
Positive
approval,
referral.
but
Yeah.
positive referral, I guess. So that was great to hear. We've set out the notifications to abutters. I don't know if we sent you this. Is it the receipts?
Yeah, I did receive that.
Okay, that's good. And now we're here. So these are the same plans that were before you a month ago, where we have two applications. I'm just going to talk about both of them together. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay. So we have the application for the removal of earth materials from the site, and then the second application is the site plan, the modification for a site plan for the use, really.
Yep.
So I'll just talk about the earth excavation first, because that's what's going to happen first if all goes well. So a little history, since we're going to repeat myself a little bit from last time, because we're all on record now. This used to be the Conbell building, which everybody I think is aware of. In September of last year, this commission granted a site plan approval so they could open their business in town, and they've moved in. They've done most, if not all, the improvements already. Maybe not some of the landscaping yet, but it's springtime soon, so that'll be soon.
How's it going?
It's slow, but like any business.
You getting there?
Yep.
Good.
So we've got the two applications. So most of the earth excavation is going to be on 375 Billings, which is the property behind the building. It just spills over a little bit onto 265 Field. And I talked to Jen about this. I don't know when we did, but we talked about it at some point, and we're going to clean up the application a little bit, we're going to combine, if it gets approved, we're going to combine these two parcels so that there's no overlap in setbacks or that sort of thing. And it'll just make it a cleaner application and site plan. Okay. So essentially, as far as the earth excavation goes, we're going to be removing at the most 10 feet of material, going down about 10 feet in certain areas, like in the middle areas, the deepest actually. And on your left side, it's not as much, obviously, and maybe it's about 9 feet on the east side here, or your right side. We do not expect any blasting to occur. They've done some digging out there. There was old test hole data where it's pretty much sand as far as an excavator can reach. So that's what they plan on hauling out of there. The purpose of bringing this down is really for the site plan, but it's so they can park larger vehicles, trailers there, really, and access it from the front of Field Road, where they can control it and not have any access off of Billings. The hauling vehicles will be accessed off of Billings, though, during the excavation process, because that would be just the easiest way to get vehicles off the site. There's a great sight line on Billings, so when vehicles are exiting and entering, they'll be able to see in both directions, and won't have any conflicts with vehicles traveling on Billings. We're expecting to remove about 18,000 cubic yards, roughly. And really, these plans here that show the earth excavation are like a grading plan, but more importantly, an erosion and sediment control plan. What we're doing is we're excavating a deeper, call it a hole, but it's really called a sediment trap on this corner of the excavation. So all the water from the excavation will run to that hole, allow the sediment to settle out to the bottom as it just kind of just sits around. And really, we're going to use that, and it's probably just going to dry out because it's all sand.
Right.
And if it doesn't, it just overflows to where it currently goes now, but it had that opportunity to let the sediment settle out first. We have a construction entrance, which is your typical, gravel, stone entrance, so that sediment doesn't track onto the public road. We've got silt fence barriers on the downhill side of the entire project, so we're really just keeping sediment on the property itself. That's what we're trying to do. Once this excavation is completed, they're going to place gravel on the bottom of the excavation, and they're going to seed the slopes along the side. This access road will be gone. They're not going to have any curb cuts over here on Billings Road. The sediment trap, they're going to clean whatever sediment has accumulated in there. They're going to clean that out and get rid of it, but they're going to keep that depression there because it's going to become a stormwater basin. It's going to take that water coming off the parking area and still collect it. And we're going to put a dry well in the bottom of it, so really get the water to go into the ground. That's what we're trying to do, into that beautiful sand. So we don't expect any increase in runoff to other people's properties or anything like that. So then I'm just going to switch this to the other page. So now I'm more talking about the site plan approval. Site plan application now. So now this becomes a stormwater basin. We've got the slopes graded out and stabilized at this point, and they put down their driving course of gravel. They're installing 2 light poles in the middle. They're 20 feet tall with double heads on them, but remember they're about 10 feet down, so they're really not much. They're only 10 feet above the road, which is pretty minimal, and it's not going to be like, the parking lot lights that you see at a shopping plaza or anything like that. Even though they are 20 feet tall, they're 20 feet from the bottom of the parking area. And then they're going to add some more lights on the back of the building to illuminate this area here. They're all going to be on timers and motion detectors. So really they're for security purposes for their business. And we did a calculation as to the spillage. Zeros along all property lines and everything, so we're not spilling any light pollution off our. Furthermore, they will be installing fencing, like black chain link fencing, along the perimeter of this entire area, with a gate over here. Access to this area will be from the parking area off of Field Road, so they will drive vehicles through here to get into here, whereas now that's not accessible because you have to drive up a 10-foot hill to get up there, and that wouldn't happen. And then we're also planting a row of evergreens along the front edge on Billings Road, and that should fill in and become like a hedge and really screen this area from the street. We're also preserving 10 to 20 feet of existing vegetation along the boundary lines along the south side and the east side as well. Jennifer sent me a review from the town engineer today. He had no major comments. A couple of maybe cleanup items that.
For the site plan itself,
Yeah.
Just listing.
Yeah, just modifying the plans just to clean things up a little bit. Happy to make them conditions of an approval. I have a letter here from Mr. Robert Smith, who is the abutter that owns the property that goes all the way around this property that's in favor of this application. So I don't know if I have a copy of that, Jennifer? I might have.
Yes.
Yeah. It does say to the Planning Commission, and that's my fault because I told him to send it to the Planning Commission because I, at the time, wasn't sure which one we were going to, but it's both. So that was my fault, but we posted signs; they're still there, and the abutters, and that's essentially the applications in a nutshell, and we'll answer what questions y'all have.
How tall is the fence going to be around the perimeter?
Like a 6-foot chain link fence.
Oh, okay. And then When you put the green, when you guys plan on
The evergreens will be in front of it anyway, so you won't see it from that end. It's just to kind of more security purposes.
Sure. Okay. Excellent.
Any concerns you had, Jennifer, with any of this?
No, just that, they need, a condition of approval would be to merge the two lots because the parking goes right over the property line. And otherwise, they would have needed variances for setbacks, but it just makes sense to merge it for one whole property on Field Road. There is public comment, I think.
Yeah.
But also it was brought to our attention, they thought that maybe there was a well up in the corner of the property. The sanitarian has, looked through the file today, and we don't see any evidence that
Here it is.
that's proposed.
No.
It says proposed on it.
No.
Okay, well, we brought it to their attention, it says proposed. You can come up and you can express your concerns.
Right.
State your name and address for the record.
Okay.
She didn't find any evidence of like a well drilling completion report or anything in the file for it.
Okay.
The concern would be, that it's properly abandoned if it was there, but she didn't find anything in the file evidencing that it was there.
In the first.
She had, in fact, came up. I think there might be some on the rear side. I'm not sure, but that's
Their wells are here, and there's one over here.
Yeah, those are the two that she found something an older site plan for. And it would really be
But now you're above water.
Yeah,
your
it's city water.
engineering concerns, for safety purposes for that. Driving construction equipment over it.
Right.
If it were there, right, so.
Do you guys have any comments?
No.
While we've got you up here.
I know.
No, and that pretty much explains it. Just trying to make a private parking lot in the back to store larger vehicles and not really vehicles, but more trailers, RVs, stuff like that. And just because we're specialty storage, so we want to store stuff.
And make it safer because everybody just kind of parks there right now, and
And
we have
secure.
no idea who's back there and trying to secure everything together.
Sure.
Does anyone, Dan? Shane?
No questions.
No.
Anyone else?
This is sick.
Yeah, you can take a step back. You can take.
Here, you may want to look at this.
Actually, I emailed it to you.
My name is Richard Navaconis, 385 Billings Road, and I have nothing against the whole project. I just would like to clarify a couple of things.
Okay.
All the prints I've ever had, it don't show this. This is an industrial buffer, 25 feet.
Yeah.
And your prints don't show it. The old prints always showed it. They changed the buffer, the line for industrial from 400 feet or whatever it is to the property line. And it's not shown here. That's what my biggest concern. And it's always been shown on other prints. And this is when Conval requested put a addition on their building, and they took the house down. And
That's Billings, which is over here on this one.
yeah, right here, there's the well, right there. Right where you're going to put your haul road. And I know it's there because I saw him cap it. So I was going to ask, did your engineer look at these prints?
Yes, Jeff Board looked at them.
Okay, well, here's another thing. On your, we can go off of this one. Smith already had this approved for 42 houses of affordable housing. And Jeff did the road work. They're not going to put no drainage in on this. I take that back. I'm over here. They're not going to put no drainage. They're going to let the road do the drainage. So now here I see by your prints, you're taking a 10-foot cut here and an 11-foot cut down here. Smith's prints for the road show a 5-foot cut. And now you got 70-foot trees up here on 11 or 14 feet of sand. Something's got to give. Why don't they just take all out and put in a row of trees? I'd be happy. They don't have to be like they don't have to be staggered. Put in 3-foot trees, in a couple of years they'll grow. That's my only concern. And I'm only telling you this because if somebody driving a bulldozer hits an 8-inch well casing, they're in trouble.
Right, and that's why we
would-
shared it with
Right.
Mr. Peterson.
But what I would like to see, instead of all those big trees, nobody's ever gone out and looked at it. They're snapping all over on Smith's property. You can't believe the mess, all them trees that are snapped. So if you take all the trees down in front of them, you know what them big pine trees are going to do. So I would just request to just put a nice row. If you're going to put trees there, put them down there. I have nothing against any of this, you know, but just if it's a buffer zone for beauty, I'd like to see it kept that way. And I'd like to see the town start somewhere and make it look decent, because that has never been kept up. When Convalve originally started, when they were going to propose this building, you can see that they've made some trees and they're going to do all this stuff. And how we got the trees that were planted there, my wife had to call Mr. Cyber's wife and let her know that she was babysitting for our grandchildren and people were urinating in the parking lot. That's how we got them trees. So all I ask for is just make it right.
And what's this roadway?
It's not a road, it's just a grassy area.
It's just a grassy area.
That's
on that GIS.
a proposed road
Well, that's-
by Mr. Smith, and it had been approved already
So that's
once.
part of this property.
Yeah.
So,
And he's going to come through and he's going to take 25 feet for the road, and in 11 feet he's going to drop it at this point, 5 feet.
no, he's just starting at their property line.
Who is?
The only reason they can.
No, Mr.
Specialty.
Smith, Fred.
Okay, well,
What I'm saying, at this point, you're only going to have about 14 feet of topsoil, and then they're going to cut 5 here and cut 10 here, and that's not going to support a 70-foot pine tree in the wind. So just get rid of them big trees and put little ones so you can maintain them. That's never been maintained in 30 or 40 years. And how I know, I talked to the landscapers, and I says, you know, Convalve owns over to here, you could take a long one, take a couple passes. Oh no, they told us not to go over there. So it'd be nice to make it, I don't think it'd be cost prohibitive. They're going to put them trees in, it's another $4,000 or $5,000 and do that.
And who's the neighbor that wrote, that submitted?
Bob Smith.
Bob Smith, that's the person who owns the property that I bought.
the Smiths
Yeah,
are there,
well.
yeah.
Was he the one who wrote the letter in
Yes.
favor?
Yeah.
I'm in favor of it. I just
Right, you just want the trees.
Yeah, in other words, if it's a buffer zone, make it a buffer zone. Make it an example. I think what they're doing on the front and the fence, that'd be perfect. I got nothing against them. I get along good with them. But, and if somebody's going to cut a road in there to put housing, they shouldn't have to look take a look at it. It's not, hasn't been maintained.
Your concern is the erosion with the
No,
size of the trees. The size of the trees, but if there was to be.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
In other words, it won't be maintained because it hasn't. How can you maintain junk?
Is this roadway something that's
It's been proposed twice, once as an industrial zone and once as a low, affordable housing.
So it's in the industrial zone, so technically, you have to have a buffer between industrial and residential. So technically, the buffer you're requesting would be on Bob Smith's property.
No,
Yes,
it would be on condos.
it would be on Bob Smith's property.
No.
Because Bob Smith's property
He owns it.
has frontage right here. He owns a strip in between your house and Compound.
No.
He owns
The
the
buffer
strip
would
between-
have to be on the industrial property.
Right, this is industrial right here.
So part of
No.
Mr. Smith's property is...
No.
Property is residential.
No, it's approved.
Access.
Smith's property is residential.
Yes.
It was
It's
approved.
this property that you're
It's
talking.
industrial. It was approved for affordable housing. I understand what you're saying. It had an affordable housing development approved. According to our zoning map here and the property card, 251 Field Road has frontage on Billings and it's industrial zone.
Not what you want.
No,
Well, I'm just
I've
telling
got
you what's on the map.
You're saying it like you know. and
I'm looking at it.
You were arguing with him before. We fought this
I'm
before.
looking at, okay. I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm not-
well, that's why I'm asking,
Your head's strong.
I'm asking on this print,
I am looking it up. I'm looking at it right on our
yeah,
website, sir.
but look right here, they changed this property line. The industrial zone started here and it went in here 15 feet.
Where
To this point, it was in 15 feet.
where can I see that?
Well, you can see it here on this map.
That may have been done in 2021 when they revised the zone.
When they revised it, see, this is the industrial zone right here.
Okay.
And this was the old industrial zone here, and then they pushed it out to the property line. So now everything this side,
But
and this was always residential.
if it's been revised,
So you're telling me the industrial's going
You're saying
to,
the new industrial line is here, correct?
this is what the records are stating. I'm not saying, I'm saying what the records are saying.
So
Did
this
they
is the
redo
new
that when
industrial
they
line
changed
right
the
here,
zoning
because
from
these are both
51?
industrial,
Remember
essentially.
when they did that not long ago? Is that
In
what it
2021, I think. They
Yeah.
must have, there were property lines, there were zone lines that were over, like, the middle of properties.
yeah, well,
So-
it wasn't. There was a jog of 15
Hold
feet.
on, sir, can you just hold on? I'm trying to listen to her explain it to me.
Things to equal out.
So when we redid our zoning laws in 2021 and created, village business, there were some properties in certain areas that had a zone boundary right through the middle of the property. So they shifted some down in Quality Ave, probably here, without, going back and watching all of our meetings and looking at the old map.
But where your map is, you're on the internet, it shows that little space and Smith's, that's residential.
Well, the field
Mhm.
card and the assessor show this as industrial. But
It is not, and it has never been. The industrial is on that property line. From them eyes in the sky, they seem to change everything, but you can see it right here. This was the industrial line. They moved it to the property line.
Because it was split.
And,
So they
and
shifted.
this is all residential. That road is residential. Or did somebody,
it's not a
Move.
road, but
well, it's,
the affordable housing plan. So if someone goes to develop the affordable housing development, then they need to meet
so,
the requirements. But as of right now, this parking lot that they're proposing, the trees are a buffer between that and another industrial piece of land. I'm not sure how else to explain it.
What would we rely on to
I
determine?
talked to Jeff Ward. He knew just what it was because I talked to him.
Jeff?
There were,
Jeff Ford.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He reviewed the site plan.
And he was
Yeah.
okay with it.
Yes.
And so where is the industrial zone in now?
She's saying it extends up to here now, to the end of this roadway path. It has been rezoned. And Jennifer, I'll just ask, what would we rely on to determine a zoned area?
The zoning map.
And that's what you're referring to?
Right. And if
Okay.
you,
That isn't the,
I understand, sir,
Oh.
that it might have been something one time, at one point, but if they've rezoned it, I don't know.
that
what
is
else.
not the way
So-
he showed me.
if you look at the
Who's he?
zoning map, it looks like it goes along that property line where it's there. But that strip of grass, that property,
The entire property.
entire property is zoned industrial.
Ooh, somebody did some finagling.
So the easement is industrial now, it's not residential?
That
Yes.
What you're saying.
50-foot
This
property,
property card,
No, I'm asking you, is that what you're
I'm
saying?
answering you. 251 Field Road, property card, the zoning on it from the assessor is industrial. So if the time comes that somebody wants to develop the affordable housing, then, which actually you can put affordable housing in any zone you want. You don't have to meet zoning regs for affordable housing. I'm just saying,
But if you're saying that, then you just put the industrial zone right up against his residential zone.
She did not put it up.
Well, I'm saying not her, I'm just saying what she's
No.
saying, so don't twist my words, first of all. That's not what I said.
well, so
let's-
actually you haven't stated your name and address for the record, so if you do want to
You're
talk.
jumping in.
I-
Let's remember, this is a meeting, and we're
Okay.
trying to run it according.
My name is Joe Darker, I live at 393 Buildings.
He's
which
right
I'm
next
a
door.
black neighbors to Mr. Navaconis.
Yeah.
And again, I'm all for this, so don't get me wrong. I just want to know the facts. So when you're jumping in on one thing...
Well, I've been there for
Sir,
60
sir, I'm going to stop you right there. You're jumping in on her every time she tries to explain something. Let her explain what she's
Yeah,
trying to talk
okay.
about, okay? Let's have a cordial conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard me get upset? No.
No.
I'm just saying she's...
I've seen you come back at her
beating
several
around the bush
times.
to say what I want to hear. What you
I'm
want
not
to say.
beating around the bush,
And
sir.
she's not gonna say what you
251
wanna
Field
hear.
Road is listed as industrial. There's a grass strip in between. There are trees there. So it's up to the zoning commission to determine if the trees that are there are adequate buffer. That's really,
Okay, can I
In a
ask you
nutshell.
one thing? Which trees we talking about? The pine trees or the arborvitae? That's what I'm
So
asking.
what he's asking is, sorry, what's your name again, sir?
Richard Navaconis.
Mr. Navaconis has, he has an arborvitae row here on your property line, correct?
Yes.
And then there's a mixture
Supposedly-
of vegetation here
Right here.
that straddles probably the,
That's why
The
that
Smith
mixture of
property and our
vegetation
property.
was there. That was the
The ball.
buffer.
wait, the arborvitae is probably the best buffer you have,
We
right?
we had to put it in because they never did it.
Yeah.
And the only reason, once my wife had to make a call because that was used as a parking lot.
So I think Jen is asking the commission if the vegetation that we're remaining here is adequate to buffer this industrial zone
Well,
property.
My
And then he's got
arborvitae
his
are here,
arborvitae there
but
buffering
when
his
you,
property.
Joe is over here, and as soon as you take this down, he can see right over to here.
Take what down?
All the
The pine.
this extends on your copy.
So the
right
corner
here.
of his property is here.
And
you
here
go further
and
back.
here. From here, and these trees are 60 and 70 foot tall. And they go all the way across here. So when you take them down, these here, you're going to see through these and you'll see all that.
And these trees also come all in through here too, off of our property.
Yeah. Yeah. But here, have you walked it? A lot of junk in here.
Yep, a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I can't disagree with you on how Conval left it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
these guys are, as we all know, I think we're trying to
Well,
connect.
actually, the pond valve tree fell down a year ago and hadn't been taken care of. The one where the boundary marker's right in the tree stump, you know, in the corner. And there was a ribbon there the other day, and I was out there the other day, and the wind must have took the ribbon, so I put a fiberglass rod approximately where that rod was, so. And believe me, when I was speaking, I was under the impression that this 25, from this property line up to here and all this, that 20, then they never told me, and that they gave me all the information, and this always was residential. Because it connected to all the proposed lots, and I have copies of where I think Pekoski, because he's the one that, this lot. And then when the deal was, when Smith bought this, he had to give this corner here to Conval. That was the deal. They were fighting who was going to buy it. And so they finally ended up that Smith said, if I buy it, I'll give you this piece. That's what gives you that extra 100 and some odd feet here. From this point on, but yet, from 400 feet went to this property line, not this property line. That is not correct. And here I am. I would like to fight it, but I don't have money enough to get lawyers. It's whatever the guy up in the sky is telling you now, that's all industrial. And that is a shock to me. I've maintained this so it wasn't brush and a mess for 62 years I've been there. And now they're saying this is all industrial. So Smith got his way. Snuck it by us somehow. So that's industrial. Then he's got to put a 25-foot buffer between me here.
If he develops it, yes.
Well, how about now? He owns it. It should be.
There's trees on it now.
No, it isn't. It's 50 foot. It's open.
Well, I'm looking at the GIS map from last fall.
Yeah. Well, now you got two owners.
So he's not going to need a buffer to us.
Yeah. Well,
He may need a buffer to you.
he can't use the road if he's got to put a buffer in. It's not big enough to qualify for a road. So he shot
To be
himself.
honest, I really don't see anyone developing that property back there. There's trees on it.
I understand
I mean,
what
you can,
you're
if
saying.
you want, you can send me an email, file a complaint, and I can, look into it and go to Bob Smith. But their property doesn't abut yours. There's a strip of land in between.
Yeah, but if I'm within 100 feet, I have the same right as in the butter.
Yeah, anybody in town can come speak.
Yeah, no, but
If you're within 100 feet, you have to be notified of a public hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's 500 feet that you. Well, that's a crazy thing, isn't it?
Is that all, sir?
Well, just to clarify, who's got the buffer then? Is it Smith or is it?
Smith would have it
Smith would have to do it.
to you.
So, but now the industrial zone got moved, and I knew what you were talking about when they shifted it for the zoning.
Yeah, it was only 15 feet to this point. From here to here, they brought it out here 15 feet, not 65 feet.
I'm sorry, two people speaking at the same time. I can't comprehend. So let's try and keep one person
What
at a
I'm
time.
saying is, and I talked to the engineer and all the information they gave me at this point, 200 feet from here to here, that industrial zone was moved 15 feet out to this property line.
Okay.
And this was all residential. And now it's all commercial.
What I'm trying to explain to you is that, you know where his shop is on Field Road?
Yeah, I know.
Excuse me. That property consists of 6 acres, and that property is all combined. Like if you look at our GIS map, he probably got this is all one property. See it yellow?
Yeah.
So here's Field Road, here's Billings Road. So this is all his property that's yellow. I wasn't here yet when he got the affordable housing approved. When he got the affordable housing plan approved, it's probably for access here and then access over here, because this is also his property. This is a rear lot with this tiny bit of frontage over here on Field Road. So they were probably going to develop back here, in which case, at the time when you go to develop it, they'd have to cut off his industrial part here. So his shop's over here. The assessor has this as industrial. So he would be the one with the buffer issue to your residential lot. So
But he can't use it as a road.
if he got it approved back when, I can't answer to why they approved the affordable housing plan or what road they were coming off of, whether it was Field Road or.
Well, they were going all the way. In fact, what he was going to do, because he didn't want to pay to hook up the water on Field Road and come up this way, he was going to let him go through his yard here so he didn't have to pay for all that water. And Connecticut Water wants a loop through your.
So
and so he was going to go through there. Huh. Well, that is a shocker.
I thank you for your comments, sir.
Yeah.
Did you want to, because you guys were talking over each other.
All I was going to say is with the zoning, I know they shifted it,
Yep.
but if I remember when they were doing that, it was for something down in Somersville to change it to make it more better businesses, as well as fix the property boundaries where they were splitting some of them. Some of it was residential, some was industrial, so they made it what it should be. Like in this case here, they kicked the line over, but I was under the impression they kicked the line to where the pine trees are. Make that whole parking lot as residential, or as industrial.
Yeah.
Smith's was residential.
Right.
With an easement going in. Not what you're saying. You're
Right.
saying Smith's is now industrial. What you're saying, you're looking on there, I get what you're saying.
yeah, I mean, this is something that really we can talk about.
And
You're
that's
welcome to
why,
come into my office anytime.
I was
We
waiting
can
to
talk
see
about it.
where
It's
is
not
the
really-
industrial line, and when you looked it up,
But that's what I'm saying. That's what it's got me confused. I do know that they did that for the better of the town. Basically.
So it sounds like that's more of a meeting for
You know?
later.
is there, well, then I know this can't be used as a road now.
That's a separate issue from what we're
Yeah, I
here to
mean,
discuss
what
tonight.
they're doing has no, that's up to
In
Bob.
other words,
for-
if they take a
Right, but
50-foot
we
right,
want to focus on what we're here to talk
Right,
about tonight.
right.
That road issue, if you want to discuss that with Jennifer at some other point, send her an email or come to the office
Yeah.
and talk to her about it. That,
All
I
right,
think that's a
and
more
maybe-
appropriate use of time than
Right.
discussing that right now.
yeah, that's all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, if nothing else, I did tell you where there is a well, somebody could get hurt driving a machine right into it, so,
I emailed the map too.
yeah,
And they're appreciative of that, I'm sure. And
Yeah.
yep.
We are, yes. And obviously there wasn't time to update our plans with that information, but again, that's something you guys can stipulate in your approval as to if there's a well over there, it'd be abandoned per the health code. And that's what we would want to do, obviously.
On your town map where it shows purple and that, it does show this strip as white.
Right.
As
Yeah, I'm trying to explain to you two that his shop has frontage on Field Road, which is industrial, and that lot's industrial. So it's
Anything connected to that property.
correct because it's all one lot right now.
They can't split up a lot, industrial, half residential.
No,
It's
if they're
all
gonna
going to
develop
be
it,
one or
then-
the other.
And then they
And
should-
since it's on Field Road, right, Jennifer? It's
Right.
Industrial.
right.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
And it's just the way that property's drawn. It curves around there and it hits Billings.
Well, might be an advantage. It might be an advantage.
And you can't put a road in.
No. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, if you did
I'm
put a
sorry,
road,
I-
you'd have to meet-
You know, I just wanted to keep it looking good, but it'd be nice if they would put the same trees there, just one row. I don't care if they're 3 foot high, it would look a lot better. And you're going to see that with the tall trees, the earth here isn't going to support it. That was my only concern, just for the look.
Yeah, no, this is that. You have them both right there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. No problem. Actually, I'm happy. I learned something I didn't know.
All right.
I know,
You learn something new every day. That's what they say.
That's what they say.
On a good
I don't
day.
know that's true.
but shot himself in
A
the
few days I
foot.
feel like I lost more than I learned.
We need that in-
Are you all set? I just want to make sure you have an opportunity.
We're
Okay.
good.
Anyone else? Okay. Do we want to make a motion to close the public hearing for both applications?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for applications 25-002 and application 25-003.
Second.
Whoa, we'll give that one to Dan.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the next item on the agenda is discussion, possible decision for application 25-002, and I think we can, but I think probably
We're gonna
better
take
do
them
one at a
separate.
time. Yeah, one at a time, because they're
Right.
completely.
Yes, so the earthwork.
Yeah. So let's work on that one first. We had what? We have the well issue we can discuss. We have, if in fact there is a well there, and then there were some
Right.
corrections or some issues that the engineer had, right?
Jeff just mentioned on sheet 2, show on sheet 2, existing tree line, existing spot grades to the south.
So, the well issue, I think, is more of a concern for you guys than anyone else. Like, obviously, you don't want any equipment.
Yeah, that would
connection.
be. I'd be happy you brought it to our attention. It's
Yeah.
if I can talk, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, for the applicants.
But yeah, so we now can look out for it and plan for it.
If it's there, you'll take appropriate actions. And did you have any issues with what the engineer recommended?
Not at all. No.
All right. Any other discussion, guys?
Well, before you vote,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure too, I was just double checking, if there were hours listed on the earthwork section. Just if you wanted to consider that hours of operation.
There are.
Yeah, just trying to get to that page, but. Yeah, 7:30 a.m. and 5:30 to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Yeah.
That's part of the
Yeah,
regs?
it is part of the regs, so unless you wanted something more strict than that, but.
I don't think anything more strict's been proposed.
I didn't see anything.
Anything else of concern for you?
No.
Any more discussion? No? So why don't we put forward a motion to accept, or approve, sorry, application 25-002. Anyone? With conditions that if there is a well, what would
Well, they would abandon it according to health code.
Okay. And then implement the town engineer's plans?
Comments. right.
Comments. Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion for that? Shane?
I can feel it. I'll make a motion to approve application number 25-002 with the condition that if there is a well on the property, that it'll be abandoned per health code and
Implement any of the town
Implement.
engineer's comments.
implement any of the town engineer's comments.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
That's good you took the second. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the application 25-003. This is related to the exterior storage and warehousing of larger vehicles, i.e. RVs and trailers, right? Oh, that's okay. Any discussion on that? I'm not that concerned with vehicles back there. It's an industrial zone.
Yeah,
I'm good with it.
it reads to me as just a creative use of the space to help expand the business and utilize it for more storage. Great idea.
Any thoughts, Dan?
Pardon?
Any thoughts on it?
No, that sounds good.
So,
up.
anyone want to give me a motion to approve application 25-003
With the condition that they merge the lots.
with the condition that they merge the lots?
I'll make a motion to approve application number 25-003 with the motion that they merge the lots
375 Billings Road and 265 Field Road.
of 375 Billings Road and 265 Field Road.
You want to do the second this time?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next,
Thank you,
thanks,
Jeff.
guys. Thank you,
As
everyone.
always.
Next item on the agenda, approval of the minutes from April 7th, 2025. Shane, it was me, you, right? Was that the special meeting, Jennifer? I gotta look back at my notes to see who was there.
Oh, you were missing, so.
I was missing.
Chris,
I was-
Maria,
yeah,
James,
that's
Maria.
right.
Oh, I get the
I
list.
took your seat that day.
Oh, all right. So is there approval, motion to approve the minutes for April 7th?
So move.
Second?
Aye. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will abstain.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Whoa!
I couldn't even say it. I didn't hear a second on that one. I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Thank you.